It's nice to see you again. Once again, we're going to be talking about truth from God's Word. We're still in the book of Genesis, starting with Genesis chapter 8 today. We're going to talk about a man named Noah. Let me tell you, you really want to pay attention to this story because I'm hoping later in the summer that we can actually do our vacation Bible school that so many of you have come to. And we are going to be talking about Noah. So if you'll listen closely to the story, you'll have a heads up on all the other kids on what's going to happen during Vacation Bible School. Hopefully later in July, but I'll keep you posted on that. But let me tell you about Noah. The Bible talks about Noah, and it says really good things. It says he loved God, he obeyed God, he was blameless, he did what was right. Sadly, he is the only one now living on this world that God created. Hundreds of years have taken place. He is the only one who is still trying to live for God and honor God and obey God. So God said, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. Basically, he said, I'm done. I am done. I am going to have to come up with a new plan. And so he gave Noah a job to do. What I think is interesting is when Noah got his job or his calling from God, he was 500 years old. They lived longer back then than we do today. So God told Noah, he said, I want you to build an ark, which is a giant boat. And God didn't just tell him, so build the boat, you can do it however you want. He gave him very specific directions. You have to make it this big, you have to use gopher wood, you have to make it exactly the way I'm telling you. And remember I told you Noah was a good man, a godly man. So he did it exactly the way God told him to. He didn't try to make it a little bit shorter or saying this is taking too long, I'm going to change it. He did it exactly the way God told him to do it. And there was going to be a reason for that. Let me remind you, when God tells us to do something, we need to do it. And we need to do it when he says, but we need to do it exactly how he tells us to do it. And too many times I do the same thing. I try to say, oh God, you didn't really mean that, or that way's too hard, let me do it the easy way. No, when God tells us to do something, we do it, we obey exactly what he says. And thankfully Noah did. So he starts building the ark, and he builds the ark, and nobody else understands him. People start making fun of him, and it took over 100 years to build the ark exactly the way he did. But Noah and his family, they didn't care what other people said. If people laughed at them or said nasty things about them, they continued to honor and obey God. They continued to worship God, and they built the ark. And one day, finally, after 100 years, it was built. It was complete. Noah did not do this by himself. He and Mrs. Noah, we'll call her, had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and each one of them were married. So he had a little bit of help, but it still took a lot of years to make the ark. So on the day that it was finished, something amazing happened. God sent animals. Because he didn't just want to save some people on the ark, he wanted to save the animals. And so the Bible says they came on 2 by 2, a mother and a father, group of animals. All of the animals that God created, there was room for them on the boat. So it was a really big boat. And God sent them all, and they started coming. And then when they all got on board, and Noah and his wife, and Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and their wives got on board, it says God shut the door. And then the rain started. And it's likely that there had never been rain before in God's creation, so people didn't know exactly what to expect. And you can imagine that they started getting fearful, because it rained not just one day, not just 2 days, not just 3 days. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And that was part of God's plan until the entire earth was covered up. I can't imagine how afraid these people were when they realized we should have been obeying God. We should be on the ark. Remember, we talked about it. There are consequences when you sin. So finally, everything is covered. God stops the rain after 40 days and 40 nights. But if you remember when it rains here, you have to wait for the rain to go down. It has covered all of the mountains, every high thing, everything is covered. So it takes over a year for the water to go back down, for the water to recede. So they're still in the ark. And can you imagine after a year together, they might be a little tired of each other, but think about the smell on the ark. The animals, all that poop. I'm sorry. They must have had a big pooper scooper, Mr. and Mrs. Noah. That's probably what they did the whole time. But there were probably baby animals born on the ark. It's getting a little more crowded. It's getting a little bit more noisy. But finally, the waters go down enough that the ark stops on one of the mountaintops. And then Noah realizes, okay, there's still probably a lot of mud out there. Even though our ark is stopped, we need to make sure it's safe. So he sends out a raven, and the raven's got really strong wings, and he never comes back. A week later, he sends out a dove, and the dove came back with nothing. And then a week later, he sent out the dove again, and the dove came back with a leaf in his mouth. So he knows, okay, the waters are going down. And then a week after that, he sent the dove out again, and the dove never came back. And he thought, it's dry enough to come out. Can you imagine what happened when they opened the doors of the ark? I'm sure the animals were just all busting to get out of the ark, coming out, so happy to be back on dry land. I imagine Noah and his family were happy to be back on dry land. But I love this about this story. The first thing they did when they were on dry land is they offered a sacrifice to God. And they thanked God for their safety, for their protection, for watching over them, and for keeping them safe. And I think that's something we need to start doing more and more. When God takes care of us, we need to say thank you. When he keeps us safe, we need to say thank you. I have been told that maybe the story of Noah is the first sheltering in place, and I'm sure some of you, like me, have been a little tired having to stay in and home. But you know what? God has been taking care of us and keeping us safe. We need to say thank you for that. So they offered a sacrifice to God and said thank you, but then you know what? God gave them another promise. He put a rainbow in the sky. They had not seen that before. And he said, every time after rain, when you see my rainbow in the sky, that's my promise to you. I will never destroy the earth again like I've done today. I will never do it again. You can count on it. And when God makes a promise, we never have to worry whether it's going to come true or not. Every single promise of God comes true. It takes place because we serve a God who is faithful to keeping his word. And you know what? We can't count on anybody else in our life to do that. They will try. Your mom and dad, your grandparents, people who love you will always try to keep their word and keep their promises, but only God, we can count on him to always keep his promises. I love you. See you soon.